So, with the addition of the new melee system in Warframe, Melee 3.0, the way we play the game and fight our enemies has changed. Thus far, I'd have to say that I both like and dislike this system. Right now, it's strongly dislike. Here's why. Years ago, when I started playing the game, I used a Logitech M510 mouse, shown here, to play the game. It worked well, and I still use one to this day. However, the way I had bound my keys was so that I could use mouse button 4 to both quick melee and full melee. For about a year, it worked out well. I could fire with one finger or attack an enemy that got too close with a click of my thumb. But after a time, I noticed a change. I'd click the button, and I wouldn't always swing my weapon, so I'd click a little harder and then my tenno would swing. Cool, no issues. Then one day I clicked, heard a crack, and that was all she wrote. The button broke off and got stuck inside the mouse uselessly. The rest of the buttons worked just fine, but that one was done for. I couldn't use melee anymore. Now, I hear you ask, Alex, why not just use button 5, or switch your key bindings to the keyboard, or just use a controller? To that I have 3 answers. 1, I can't use button 5 because of how my hand fits on the mouse. As you can see in the picture, my thumb sits more under button 4 than it does 5. To click it with my thumb, I'd have to change how I held the mouse entirely, and then I wouldn't be able to use the other buttons correctly. 2, I don't like using the keyboard for attacking. In my mind, the left hand controls movement and utility, like use, weapon switch, and so forth, and the right hand controls combat. That was the reason I moved melee from the X button when I started playing 7 years ago. 3, while I have played the game on PS4 for a time, about 3 months, I've played the game on keyboard and mouse since the beginning, about 7 years. Playing with a controller just isn't comfortable for me. I don't feel like I have the same degree of control with a controller as I do with the mouse and keyboard. So, in the end, I bought a new mouse, which ran about $27, and decided to change how I used melee. I changed my key bindings to the following. Mouse 1 became attack when in full melee, mouse 2 became block when in full melee, and mouse 4 was quick melee when using a gun, but toggle channel in full melee. It took some time to adjust, but when I did, it was amazing. I could fight exactly how I wanted and spare the delicate mouse 4 button from overuse. But now, we have Melee 3.0, and I can't manually switch to melee anymore. Instead, I have to use mouse 4 to attack, and I can't really change my buttons the way I want. Now, don't misunderstand me. I do like the system. It has some positives. Being able to switch to melee mode in the middle of shooting is nice and fluid, and I like that I can aim my down slam attack to a degree as well. What I don't like is that I can't manually switch to full melee anymore, nor can I manually block. I vastly prefer being able to block at a moment's notice rather than rely on auto-blocking. I mean, a lot of times when I go full melee and see an enemy approaching, I'll block and then begin my approach to them. Now, my tenno just stands there with his guard down, and when the enemy closes in and I'm not blocking, my brain says, DODGE! This new system reminds me somewhat of Star Ocean Till the End of Time. It's an RPG with an action-based battle system for the PS2 rather than a turn-based system. In it, the characters had a fury gauge, which was basically stamina. Fury was used for everything, attacking, dodging, even basic movement. If an enemy was about to land a light attack, then it could be blocked, but only if the fury gauge was at 100%, and to do that, you had to stop dead in your tracks. Any movement, even to dodge during the attack, would lower the gauge, your guard would drop, and you'd take the hit in full. You see, when you were attacked in the previous build of the game, you had options. You could roll, jump, double jump, slide, wall run, slide on grind wires, bullet jump, aim glide, or just block if you didn't feel like evading, or if you couldn't evade for whatever reason. When you saw an attack coming, your brain told you you had options. You had a variety of ways to deal with it. But now, with auto block, if I want to block an attack, which is usually the first thing I think of, I don't think evasion first, I think block it first. My brain says, oh yeah, this is like Star Ocean, stop moving and you'll be fine. But my instinct, which has been developed over playing this game for 7 years, says, nothing about this game is telling you to stop. Block, you damn fool. That creates conflict, that slows down my gameplay, I end up not doing what I want, and things just go to hell. To all this, I propose a solution. Allow players to manually switch to melee by holding the weapon switch button, but still be able to go to melee via quick attack. A good example of this would be the game Nioh.
So, here we see our character armed to the teeth and ready for battle. There are two methods by which we can go into melee. The first is by holding R1 and pressing circle to draw the weapon. Pressing these buttons again will sheathe the weapons. The second is to simply press the attack button and BAM! Sword is drawn, the drawing animation is skipped entirely, and I'm in full melee, ready to go. I can choose to either deliberately draw my sword, or to simply quick attack when an enemy gets too close. I can even mix the two if I should choose to do so.
With a system like this, I feel that Melee 3.0 will be a bit more fluid and less jarring to people like me that still enjoy the old system while being inclusive to players that are embracing this new system. If nothing else, I won't have to replace my mouse every 12 months. But hey, that's just my 2 cents on the issue. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.